Welcome back, everyone, for a written and rewritten Cobra Kai Season 4 watch party. So there's trouble with Season 4. Yeah, Terry Silver's back. And John Kreese. And Kyler. And Yasmin. And Anthony. He's back, complete with his pancake tacos. Oh man, that's bad. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about trouble in one of the scenes. Or at least disagreement of some kind. It all begins with Martin Kove. Yeah, he got to talking again, and you know what that means. At the Planet Comicon back in August, Kove did a panel with Billy. Near the end, they were asked if they ever changed the dialogue they are given. Now, Martin Kove said over most of his career, he would change his lines, swap words around, say it in a different way, that stuff. He doesn't do that much anymore. Now he sees the wisdom in sticking to the script. Now, if you have followed Martin Kove at these panels or in interviews, you know he goes off script all the time. That is, he says things he probably shouldn't. And he did that here. Kove brought up how he and Billy both had a problem with a scene in Season 4.
And Billy and I have had a problem with a scene just right before the end of Season 4.
He then explains that the two of them took it upon themselves to rewrite the scene.
And we rewrote the scene over the weekend, sent it to the writers.
So there's an important distinction to recognize here. That is the nature of the change. When Martin Kove talks about changing lines through his career, he's probably talking about small stuff. Like maybe a line, "Come on, we gotta hurry." Instead he would say, "We gotta hurry, come on." It's basically the same line, just a little different. He said himself it would be easier to memorize that way. But that's not what he's talking about here. Kove didn't say he had a problem with some lines such as, "I want to bring joy and happiness to the world." Or perhaps a line like, "I've always really admired you, Daniel LaRusso, and your teacher Miyagi, he was the best." Those are lines that may feel out of character and he'd want to change, but that's not the case here. He had a problem with the whole scene. In addition, according to Martin Kove, Billy had a problem with the scene as well.
Both of us had a problem with the scene.
So there seems to be an issue with the scene and what happens in the scene. It was so much they apparently took it upon themselves to rewrite the whole thing themselves over the weekend. Maybe no one else was available to write it, or maybe the two just wanted to show their take on the scene. As far as we know, this is the only time any actor on this show actually sat down and tried to rewrite a scene themselves. Paul Walter Hauser did a lot of improv, but he was just riffing in the moment, and they were interchangeable jokes. It's not like he sat down and rewrote a scene. It's worth noting we also know where the scene is.
And it was coming out of episode 10 in Season 4.
So obviously it's a climactic scene between Kreese and Johnny that Billy and Martin Kove had problems with. Now the nature of this scene and what happens we don't know. But if I'm being honest with you, and no one is more honest than I am, I believe Marty and Billy rewrote the scene because they didn't like what happened, or at least how it happened. They wouldn't take the weekend to rewrite a whole scene over a disagreement on a single line or two. Consider what he says here.
And we really tried to make this scene. Both of us had a problem with the scene.
Okay, so he was clearly saying we really tried to make the scene work, as apparently they didn't think the scene was working, though he shifted mid-sentence to just say they had a problem with the scene. Why didn't it work, or why didn't they think it worked? We don't know. It is worth pointing out that their rewritten scene didn't get very far.
We rewrote the scene over the weekend, sent it to the writers, and the writers, they gave us credit. Yes, it's good, your writing is good, but let's just keep it the same.
So while they expressed their concerns and even rewrote the whole friggin' scene, the writers were unimpressed, or at least not impressed enough to go with their take. Now certainly Kove is speaking broadly, as the conversation was probably a little deeper than that, but he does give the impression there was no attempt at a common ground, or maybe we can incorporate a little of their take on it. According to Kove, the writer said,
"But let's just keep it the same."
Basically that's a "we appreciate your concerns, but we want to do it our way" sort of approach. Now certainly Martin Kove and Billy Zabka aren't the only actors who've had a problem with the scene or disagreed with what their character was doing. We've had many examples, even some famous ones in recent history.
And Billy and I have had a problem with a scene.
I told Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character.
Actually, that's not the only parallel. There's also how they reacted to input from the actor.
We rewrote the scene over the weekend, sent it to the writers, and the writers, they gave us credit. Yes, it's good, your writing is good, but let's just keep it the same.
I still made it up myself. And, I tried to show it to JJ, and he, was accommodating, but basically patted me on the head, gave me a cookie, and made me go away.
While the actors and characters are so far apart, I do think their instincts about their characters are sharp and in tune. Something will happen in Season 4, Episode 10 that neither Billy nor Marty felt was right.
And ultimately it worked, I guess.
Those aren't the words of someone who's thrilled about how it turned out. He's not admitting that he was wrong and was blown away at how well the scene played out. He seems more resigned to that's just how it's gonna be.
Ultimately it worked, I guess.
You may be wondering what their rewritten scene was or how it differed from the original. Thanks to my spies and inside sources, I managed to snag a copy of their take on the scene. This is how it went. Interior, Cobra Kai Dojo, night. Shadows dominate the dark room. The All-Valley Trophy sits at the front, alone. Its presence imposing on the room. It's where it belongs. The bell rings as Johnny walks in. Slow, uncertain. He looks around like he's never seen the place. His eyes rest on the trophy. How could this have happened? It's about time you showed up. I've been expecting you. Kreese stands in the back doorway. A triumphant smile radiates his face. Look, man, I'm just here. I know why you're here. Yeah, you won the tournament. You won the bet, all of it. Johnny crosses the room. Kreese takes one step to meet him. That's right. So fine, it's done. A bet is a bet. Here's the $20 we owe you. He offers a white envelope. Kreese takes the envelope. It's all here? Yeah, it's all there. Half from me, half from LaRusso. Kreese peeks in the envelope. A single $20 bill is inside. Half and half. But there's only one $20 bill. Okay, LaRusso covered my half. I was little short. What difference does it make? It's all the same to you. You're right. It is the same to me. But this is not why you're here. Oh, you aren't going to ask me to come join again? Really? You already asked me 600 million billion times. Yes, I did. But I'm going to ask you one more time, Johnny. Come back and join Cobra Kai. Horror strikes across Johnny's face. He's shaking. No, you wouldn't. But I am. I'm asking you 600 million billion and one. Come back where you belong. Johnny falls to his knees. You bastard! How did you know? How did you know I could never say no 600 million billion and one times? How did you know? He's sobbing. Kreese is gentle. A good sensei knows his students. And I know your limit for saying no has always been 600 million billion and one times. Welcome home, Johnny. No! Johnny stands. He accepts his fate. He is in Cobra Kai once again. So anyway, that was Marty and Billy's take on the scene. You can probably see why the writer said, yeah, it's good, but let's keep it the same. So sadly, they did not go with this take. It just wasn't meant to be. Are you confident everything will be fine or worried that Martin Kove and Billy Zabka's instincts may indicate something? Let me know in the comments. Be sure you are subscribed. Now is the time. You don't want to miss any new videos. Season 4 is coming soon and I will be here covering it. Have a great day. I'll see you at the next watch party.